Does that mean you think do you think Conor Benn will be better in the second fight?
Yes.
Does that mean that you think that by him being better and there's no more left from Chris Eubank, that Conor Benn's able to bridge the gap and get an outcome in his second fight?
Without a doubt.
You do?
He couldn't have done any more. If he could have knocked out Conor in that fight, he would have done. He just couldn't get rid of him. And Conor stuck it. So regardless of him being surprised that Conor stuck it out a lot more, he couldn't get rid of him.
We've got to have a think about it. You know, Conor's saying, I want revenge, I want this, and it's the biggest fight. I mean, it's massive. But you don't want too many fights like that, and we're giving away advantage up here at one.
I think it's going to be revenge. I'm flipping. I think both fighters put on an amazing performance. I think both fighters were spot on. I think both fighters should be really proud of themselves. I think Chris Jr., he rinsed himself out when there was nothing left to give. Whereas I looked at Conor, I thought, you've got something left to give. And so if he makes the adjustments, and if the conditions are exactly the same as they were for the contractually conditions were exactly the same as they were in the first place, I'm going Conor. I think
he won't survive. Johnny Nelson's shocking prediction for Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn has stirred debate as Nelson insists Conor Benn takes this one, but Oscar De La Hoya's warning proves how tough the weight issue really is and why Benn may still crumble under Eubank's full strength.
I mean, you have to follow the weight classes. You have to follow directions and orders, and you know that's why we have weight classes. For 1 pound makes a huge difference. I mean, this guy was almost fainting trying to make...
Conor Benn's words sound calm on the surface, but the frustration beneath is clear. He wants to act composed, yet Eubank's confidence keeps getting under his skin. Benn's attempt to downplay tension only shows how much this rivalry truly bothers him.
Listen, I don't like Chris. I don't have to like him, but no one's out to hurt anybody here, you know. And it's a shame that he lives in that world of paranoia where he genuinely believes that anybody's out to get him, because nobody really is. And it's for his toenail. I couldn't care less about his toenail. I don't care. I mean, I'll cut some of mine off and give it to him if he wants.
Hamza Shiraz believes Benn stops Eubank early, but that feels like a risky call. Eubank's chin, experience, and ring IQ make him far too durable for a 6-round finish. Benn's aggression could just walk him into counters from a smarter, seasoned Eubank Jr.
What's your prediction, Benn or Eubank?
I've got Conor Benn to win inside 6 rounds. I feel like the weight will affect Eubank too much on how it affected him before as well. And it was a hard fight. It wasn't an easy fight. Yeah, Conor Benn to win inside about.
George Groves raises an interesting point. He doubts whether Eubank still has the same hunger after his biggest wins. Yet those who know Eubank Jr. understand his pride. That kind of self-belief does not fade. If anything, criticism fuels his drive to dominate Benn.
I think maybe Conor Benn beats him. I think if I was Eubank, my point was at the time, I was like, mate, like you have just climbed your Everest. You've just headlined a stadium. You've beat what is now a rival, spectacular fashion in terms of getting the win with your dad by your side and all the hooting and hollering that went on amongst it. You can't top that feeling. I don't begrudge you if you want to earn more money out of the sport, but be careful because you look way past his best.
Teddy Atlas sums it up perfectly. Benn must take huge risks to close the distance, and that will open him up to punishment. Eubank's natural size and timing make him a nightmare for a shorter man who relies purely on pressure and emotion.
My preview of this fight is the same as it would have been for the fathers. How unusual is that? So you got Benn, a smaller man, and then there's a hydration clause. He was a welterweight that he fought a few fights at junior middleweight, but Eubank's been a middleweight and super middleweight most of his career. So he is the guy who's bigger. I see the fight as Ben having to get close without taking damage.
Aid Oladipo believes the rematch favors Eubank Jr., feeling Benn's power once changes everything. Eubank now knows exactly what to expect, and that knowledge turns confidence into control. When a fighter stops fearing his opponent, the entire fight dynamic shifts in his favor.
Ultimately, in the end, sort of bigger guy won it. The rematch is going to be interesting, I think. He's now realised that I can hurt that fighter. I've felt the other fighter's power. Next time, I know what's coming. I think he might even do better in the next one. I think he's got a shout to win it.
And Eubank's older.
I get these fights But you do want to see Ben, can you kick on to try and win a...
Gordon Ramsay, even as a fan, understands the basics of boxing logic. The longer the fight goes, the more it favors Eubank. Ben's power fades over time, while Eubank thrives in later rounds. If Ben cannot finish early, Eubank will take over completely.
Deserve to lose. And jumping up a weight is hard, but jumping up 2 is even harder. So Chris has got the advantage if it goes past 6. Ben's got to get this done early. Otherwise, it's going to be Chris's. I predict Chris in round 6.
Bomac's confidence in Eubank Jr. feels genuine. He sees the technical growth and discipline Eubank has built since past setbacks. If Eubank handles Ben the way many expect, a world title shot at 160 suddenly becomes a very real and deserved opportunity.
I said, man, once you get past this fight and you dominate this fight, they can't deny you fighting for a world title, you know. At 160, I believe he can be a world champion.
At 160?
At 160, I believe he can be a world champion.
Conor Benn loses his composure here, and that says a lot about where his head is. The anger and lack of control show cracks in his confidence. Eubank Jr., on the other hand, has remained calm and strategic throughout this buildup. Ben's emotions might push him to fight reckless, which is exactly what Eubank wants. A controlled fighter always beats an emotional one, and in this case, Ben's words show he is already fighting outside the ring instead of saving his energy for the real battle inside it.
Right to happen. You know what happens when you have an agreement? Do you know what happens? You know when you sign a contract? Do you know what that is?
I didn't sign a contract.
Do you know what that is?
To fight you on
Do you know what that is?
I signed,
do you know what that is?
Rematch you. I didn't sign.
Do you know what that is?
So
do you know what an agreement is?
Now the date is perfect.
But do you know what an agreement is? Do you understand?
No, I don't know what agreement is. What is it?
You're an
Carl Froch's advice to Conor Benn says everything. He is telling him to stay calm and conserve energy because Ben tends to fight emotionally and burn out too soon. That strategy might work against lesser opponents, but Eubank is too experienced to be outsmarted like that. Froch's tone shows concern, as if he knows Ben's temperament could cost him dearly once again. The only way Ben survives this rematch is through discipline and control, yet those are two qualities Eubank has mastered and Ben still struggles to hold under pressure.
I'd like to see you calm it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Just on the outside, just the movement, just steady it down.
Boring though, Carl.
No. On the outside, man, you don't want to be chucking energy away and burning down the bar. Think of it.
It's boring.
No, it's not boring, because then you get in range and you make it exciting.
Oscar De La Hoya's words hold real weight because he knows what these kinds of rivalries can do to a fighter's career. The emotions, the pressure, and the physical toll can be overwhelming. For Ben, this is make or break, and if he loses badly again, it could end his rise entirely. Eubank Jr., however, seems in control of the moment. He understands the stakes and thrives under this level of intensity. While Ben fights to prove something, Eubank fights to secure legacy, and that difference in purpose could decide the outcome once the gloves touch.
With these rematches, with these types of intense fights taking place, like Conor and Eubank, a rematch right away will probably end their career. You know, it's that.
Simon Jordan captures a deeper truth about Eubank Jr.'s story. It is not only about rivalry, but legacy and fatherhood. The bond with his father shaped his entire career and fuels his pride inside the ring. Every fight is a reflection of that relationship, a continuation of the Eubank name and everything it represents. When people watch him, they are not just seeing a boxer, they are seeing the weight of history carried with purpose. This rematch with Ben means more than just victory. It is about honoring a name built on years of discipline and unshakable belief.
One main thing that's not on the, headlines of news is when you talk to people about their relationship with their parents, they link it a lot to that show, which I was surprised about. People I called my dad as soon as I left the arena.
Because Eubank said that, didn't he?
He said that. People I've spoken to personally was like, I called my dad, I texted him straight
But as
away.
a spectacle, which was the big translation, wasn't it? Which people said it cost over. I mean, there's only so many times he's going to tell Barry Hearn's son to shut up at a press conference, isn't there? There's only so many times we're going to be able to hear Chris Eubank.
Chris Eubank Jr.'s statement was sharp and unapologetic. He made it clear that cheating has no place in boxing and that respect must be earned through honesty and hard work. His words reflect his mindset going into the rematch. He feels betrayed, but more determined than ever to expose Ben under the lights. This is personal for Eubank, not just a sporting contest. He wants to make a statement that no controversy or excuses will overshadow his dominance. That raw conviction gives him an emotional edge, and it is exactly what could fuel his best performance yet.
We can't let them cheat, get caught cheating,
and then act like it's okay and I'm cleared and I can't say why, but no. If you get caught with drugs in your system, especially in a fight against me, then the minimum you're going to receive is an egg across your face.
Conor Benn's tone here is defensive and uneasy, and that says a lot. He looks like a man cornered, clinging to denial as his only escape. The interviewer presses him with simple logic, yet Benn refuses to yield even an inch. The tension in his eyes betrays a deeper struggle between pride and reality. When he says he never took anything knowingly, it sounds more like a loophole than an explanation. Fans watching this can sense the discomfort, the cracks forming in his composure. It feels less like confidence and more like desperation. Every denial adds to the noise that keeps following him into every press room and interview seat, a noise he cannot silence no matter how many times he claims innocence.
It's a valid point. Do you accept that these substances were found in your body?
There's nothing to accept.
No.
It's the facts.
No?
No.
It's the facts.
Because
I never took anything knowingly. I never took.
No, but that's a different question.
Yeah.
Whether you took it knowingly or not, do you accept that they were found?
This is where Conor Benn completely loses his composure. The frustration in his tone spills over into pure anger, and his words show it. Instead of calm confidence, he throws insults, trying to turn the conversation into a personal attack. He keeps repeating that he has been cleared, but his body language tells another story. It is not the voice of a man at peace with the truth. It is the voice of a fighter still haunted by doubt. The arrogance and aggression replace clarity, and that weakens his defense. The more he tries to convince everyone he is innocent, the more it feels like he is trying to convince himself.
Because the reality is I've been cleared 3 times. By the NADP, by the WBC, by a panel full of judges that are very well experienced. Not received a ban, suspension lifted, cleared to fight anywhere in the world. But no one can clear him of being a wanker.
Eddie Hearn steps in trying to cool the storm, but even his explanation sounds like damage control. His words aim to soften the scandal, to convince the audience that the situation is not as serious as it seems. But the way he phrases it, saying the substance was not performance enhancing at that level, feels like a careful dance around the truth. It is the kind of answer that protects reputation rather than clarity. Fans are not fooled easily. They sense when something is being spun. This is not about science or dosage. It is about trust, and once that is broken, every justification feels hollow. The defense from Hearn only deepens the feeling that there is more to the story than anyone is willing to admit.
This substance, I believe, is listed as not a performance-enhancing drug, certainly to the levels that were found within him. It's something that you can get an exemption.
This entire build-up feels like a storm waiting to break. The tension between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn has grown far beyond the ropes, becoming personal, emotional, and deeply rooted in legacy. For Eubank Jr., this is redemption. He wants to prove that discipline and character still mean something in boxing, that skill and experience can silence all the noise. For Conor Benn, this is about pride and defiance. He wants to erase the stain of controversy, to make people remember his fists more than his failed tests. But beneath all the bravado lies the truth that one of them will have to face a career-changing reality. If Eubank wins, he takes back his respect and reclaims control of his story. If Benn wins, he rewrites his entire image and finally forces the world to believe in him again. This fight is more than personal. It is survival. Who do you believe walks out victorious? Let us know your take in the comments below.